Oh, that's crunchy.
Okay.
Okay. Welcome to the Wedding Crunch, episode 3, 2024. I'm Johnny Warren.
I'm Sharon.
And this is the amazing Nat from Foxy Evergreen.
Okay, so Nat has been haunting the hall since 2003 as an award-winning apprentice in floristry.
Who would have thought, Sharon, looking around?
I know, right? And you finally went out on your own in 2014.
Yeah, 10
Big
years
girl,
ago.
big girl, and Foxy
years.
Evergreen was created.
Can you tell us the name Foxy Evergreen?
Oh, I knew you were going to ask me
because
that.
I'm Warren Photography, right? And everyone rings and asks for Warren.
Yes.
Does anyone call you Foxy?
Everyone. Honestly,
that.
some of my suppliers don't call me Nat at all. They just say, "Hey, Foxy."
I love that.
Which is like I don't know. Well, someone said to me.
Yeah, tell me if it's any good because I'm going to call you Foxy.
Yeah, people do. But someone said to me once, "Oh, so is that your actual name?" I was like, "No, like I don't have stripper parents." Foxy Evergreen.
Actually, I had stripper parents. I would like a name.
Foxy
called
Evergreen.
Foxy.
It's a great name, though.
Yeah,
It is
I
a
don't know,
good
it was
porn
my
name,
husband.
isn't it?
He came up with Foxy, but I always wanted to have green in the name because it's my favourite colour. And like evergreen, obviously, it's
Oh, yeah.
trees that, continue to grow every year. I thought that's kind of nice and it's different.
Works.
It's different to Nat's flowers or...
Yeah, Nat's flowers. That would have been boring. as hell.
Boring. No one would go there. No one would want to use them.
I'm sorry for Nat if you have a business called
Is there a Nat?
I'm sure it's not. I'm sure you're not.
There we go. Greatest name ever.
Yeah.
Let's talk about flowers, Sharon.
Okay, let's just jump right into
let me
it, right?
premise this.
Yeah.
I don't know a lot about flowers.
Yeah.
Yeah. A lot of grooms are probably in this situation too. Yeah. So if I ask a dumb question, just persist.
Okay. I'm going to jump right into the big curly one, and that is cost. Wherever I read in forums, I hear couples talk about it. Why are wedding flowers so expensive? I personally don't think they are.
Can I do the groom thing at this point?
Go.
Yeah. What? They cost how much?
I had to go out and do that myself.
It's infuriating. I struggle with this one because you don't go to a tradie, well, probably some people do go to tradies and say, why does it cost that much? But I've spent years training and perfecting my skills. And, most of the time it's not just the flowers that cost that much, it's the labour, it's the designer that costs that much. So,
And transporting?
Absolutely.
Petrol's crazy.
Everything. You've got your fridge costs, you've got the labour. That's probably the biggest one, in all honesty.
It's one of those things where people say, when people are bitching about cost, and they go, well, it only took me 4 hours to do it. No, it actually took me 20 hours to learn, 20 years to learn how to do it.
Exactly right.
Correct.
4 hours to do it.
I did my apprenticeship, and, that isn't a word that people don't really use anymore in floristry. They just go and pick it up and be a Pinterest florist or whatever. But I actually trained, and... you learn all the elements and principles of design, why that looks good there.
Yeah.
We're ninjas. We get into the venue, we set it all up, we clean it all up, we try and hide all our mechanics.
You don't clean it up, you're never invited back.
Well, exactly right. But it does happen.
Yeah.
Some of the venues I work at, they say, I'm so glad that you're bringing a dustpan and broom because some florists just leave it on the floor.
Yeah.
Which blows my mind why you would do
That's a
that.
hazard anyway.
Yeah,
but
true.
Apart from that, leave the site like it's going to be photographed, because at the end of the day, it's going to be photographed.
Yeah, but also you want to go back and work there again. So
obviously they don't. Without a broom and shovel, they're not going back.
That's true.
It's fascinating. I myself have done a couple of classes.
Oh,
what?
excellent.
Yes, in floristry.
Are you an aspiring florist?
I love flowers, and if the wedding doesn't have flowers, there is something missing.
It just transforms a space. I find, so when people are talking about, how much to allocate to your wedding, if you have a blank canvas and yes, you've got, beautiful windows or lovely high beams, put flowers in that space and it totally changes it. It
100%.
transforms it into your own wedding. Like, you could do the same thing as everyone else, but if you go in there with some beautiful, bold lemons and hot pinks, like, how different is that going to be to every other wedding?
I've seen quite a few venues that need flowers.
Oh, yeah.
There's a lot of corporate-y sort of Sandy Yacht Club, something like that, needs flowers.
Not that we're mentioning any venues.
We weren't going to.
Oops, edit that. But even like the warehousey type spaces, you know,
Yeah. Well,
they're
you
really
need to bring in
canvas.
some plants or some,
Yeah,
some
yeah.
sort of life to really.
And there's
liven
more
up.
and more of those warehousey sort of venues.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Because people want to make their wedding their own.
Yeah.
Don't they?
Well, again, let's not mention any names, but I'm not a big fan of warehouse venues. They're echoey.
One of my closest friends owns Geelong Warehouse, which we're going to go to one day. But
Okay.
no, theirs is stunning. But they have installation on the ceiling. Oh God, that's gorgeous. I'm just pointing to Nat's installation on the ceiling.
Yeah,
it's
yeah,
very
sure.
Nat studio
Can't
today.
see
If
that.
if you're listening and not watching. Okay, so let's go. You just mentioned bright pinks and lemons, which I'm seeing a lot more of. So the end of last season, I was seeing a lot of, because I kept poking at Johnny going, they're gorgeous, they're gorgeous.
Look at these.
This cottage flower, wildflower, sparse looking vibe.
Yeah, it was huge. I don't know, like,
Is it much happening this year with that?
yeah, a few bits and pieces, but I'm finding a lot of my brides, and I'm not sure where it's come from, but a lot of brides are bringing in blue.
Blue.
Yes.
Where do you get blue?
It's it's funny because I did one and I was like, oh, I don't want to ever do blue and white again. And then it just, I don't know whether I just put it out to the universe, but all of a sudden everyone was wanting blue hydrangea,
Yep.
like
My favourite flower.
white cosmos, like beautiful
Yeah.
little dainty, but
Yeah.
blues and whites. And it's like, okay, well, that's obviously.
I did
So
see.
you're seeing a trend of blue and whites
I'm
coming
seeing
through.
a bit of blue and
Do you,
white.
do you remember we saw a blue one where they were a white flower, but they put blue dye in the water,
Oh,
and
yeah, no, they're awful. They're awful.
Oh, that's so 90s. That
Yeah,
wasn't
well,
this
I know.
that was ages
No,
ago
we
when we
don't
saw
do
that.
those blues.
No,
Please don't do
It's
that.
blue as
Okay.
in like a very natural hydrangea.
Yeah.
Like,
Again, a groomed dumb question.
Yeah, but in saying that, you've been around weddings long enough to know what a bloody flower looks like.
Hell yeah.
oh yeah,
You should
those
be able to
blue
name them
orchids,
all.
I
They're
can,
old
some.
school corporate-y.
Yeah.
No, couldn't do those. But
Just orchids in general, I'm not a fan of, but
yeah.
couples do love them.
They're
Well,
So
it
what
depends
about-
which orchid. See, you've got Simbids, which is this beautiful one behind us.
Oh, that's cute. They look like little
They're my
mouths
absolute
inside.
like those.
favourites.
Yeah, they're cute.
They're not all that robust, I find. When there's a bridal flowers, and then there's the orchid that runs down the front.
Yeah, well, yeah,
As they're
Yes.
walking in down the aisle, it's going like that.
Oh, they're getting whacked around. Absolutely.
Yeah.
But
All you
that
do
was
is
a big
look
trend.
at them and they go, oh, I'm falling off my stem.
Yeah, exactly.
Now, another bold design I love are the reds and the pinks and the oranges. I see them a lot more in their, what do they call them, the party before the wedding?
Engagement.
No, after that. After the engagement.
Bridal shower.
That'll do. I'm seeing a lot of them at the bridal shower. These
Yeah.
pinks and oranges, are they still hanging
Yes,
around this
absolutely.
year? Not going
Yeah,
anywhere?
no, they won't.
Good. I love those.
So the cool style at the moment, or what do you see for 2025?
2025.
Oh,
yeah.
cool.
So,
I think
Where
that's
are they going?
subjective.
Yeah, that is-
Where's the crowd going?
because I think I'm really cool, but my kids wouldn't say that. So. I don't know. See, I'm still getting people wanting whites and nudes. Like, I
Still.
thought that would have been gone. I'm still getting people want that. But I encourage more colour. Bring some colour at me. I love it. It's,
Yeah.
vibrant. It's interesting. People will go in and be like, oh, what if, this is a good vibe.
Yeah,
Like,
whites and nudes probably last season. We saw a lot of that.
yeah, but
I've been seeing it for years.
Years.
So, why do you think the brides
'Cause
choose,
it's
or
safe.
couples, I should just say couples choose white? It's safe.
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 Oh, is that why? It's not
Totally
because
safe.
they think it's classier looking.
Yeah.
Or,
Well, that does get used a lot. Like, oh, it's sophisticated and classic, and I must admit, I do say those things because
that is a true story.
It is.
Yeah, yeah.
Classic.
You can't get it wrong if you've just got white
Like,
pennies,
you're gonna
can
look back at your photos and go, oh, that was a beautiful bouquet. Whereas you see some of the like wildflower ones, and are they going to look back and? I mean, for instance, perfect example is the whole boho thing.
Yes.
That's been and gone, thankfully.
Yeah.
But a bride's going to look back and go, oh, remember when I had that boho and I had the flower crown? And, they're not going to probably put those photos.
But I love those. I
Memorable.
look at weddings from the 70s and the 60s is my favourite era, and I just can't get enough.
Well, you'd love the boho.
I love no, I'm not a huge fan of boho, but I love the look of it, and to me that tells me what history there is.
Yeah, true.
Whereabouts in history it is.
Yeah.
It's like I was in the jewellery trade for 25 years, and I could pretty much pick an engagement ring from which decade.
Really?
Yeah. So at the
There you
moment,
go.
I'm seeing a lot of hair, and anyway, we're going off track. But there is definitely a pattern, and you can pick from which decade.
Next week's podcast on jewellery.
You can pick which decade they're from. So to me, I love that.
That you can tell.
In 10 years' time, when all the whites and nudes.
But see, even like you've got things like the jip and the baby's breath. Like that was that was 80s. That was super 80s. Like when I was
Believe it.
training as an apprentice, that was on its way. Like that was out already. It was like, oh, don't touch it. Whereas now it's like you can see beautiful big installations of just gyp, and it's quite.
Gyp. Gyp's cheap.
No.
It's actually not anymore. No.
It used to be your filler years ago,
yeah,
and
that's
now
right, yeah.
it is so. We call it baby's breath for anyone. It's baby's
Yeah,
breath.
it's got two names: gypsophilia or gypsophilia,
Oh no.
depending on where you're from in the world. But yeah, it's baby's breath or gypsophilia.
That's kind of how I knew it as baby's breath, and it made a comeback. And I'm just so flabbergasted how expensive
I know.
it is
So did we work out
because
the
it's
style?
imported, isn't it?
It's important. Well, it does grow here,
But we like
you
the
can't-
import.
The
don't we?
import's bigger and fluffier.
That's what. That's why.
So
it's
that's
more-
where you go. Oh, like
Well,
your
let's
big
go back to
installations.
price then. Why is that so expensive? Because it has to be shipped in from overseas.
Correct.
Because your couples prefer the overseas version than the Australian
Yeah,
version.
so that's where it's like it's hard. It sort of leads into the next question about being sustainable, but
I was just about to get there.
Johnny's chomping at the bit about his sustainability, but you can just hang on for a second.
Okay.
It's a tricky one because, you know, if you've got big weddings that need an abundance of flower, it's very hard to get, you know, that amount of gyp from local growers that will fill an installation like that, or to get that amount of roses.
Is it?
Because a lot of our growers can't keep up with demand. You know, weddings wedding flowers became such a huge thing that there wasn't enough flowers. So we had to go.
Where do they come from? Is it Africa or somewhere bizarre?
So, Ecuador.
Oh yeah,
Colombia.
a lot of roses come from Ecuador, don't they?
Colombia.
I learned that in the
Holland,
class that I did.
New Zealand.
Oh really?
Yeah, Taiwan. Like
What?
a lot of the
Taiwan?
orchids.
Jeez.
Singapore.
Oh yeah, orchids. Yeah, that makes sense.
I remember an incident where some bride wanted peony roses and they weren't in season.
Yeah, so
and
where
it
did
was
they
like,
come?
I don't care. Get them from Africa if you have to. But get me peonies.
Oh, so
Peonies are
they're the
beautiful.
brides I'll stay away from. They're like,
Right, tell us. So if you're shipping in flowers from overseas, then the sustainability
goes out
question
the window a
comes.
bit.
Yes.
A little bit, yeah.
It's got to go on a.
It's a hard one. So I feel like, I try and practice sustainably as much as I can, but I still buy imported flowers because
What can you
there's
do?
times when I have to.
Yeah.
Well,
So-
you just get left behind if you don't.
Well, that's right. That's right. I don't know. I'm a big supporter of buying local, of supporting your local growers, because if we don't buy from them, they will not survive.
True.
There's a local rose grower called Nude Blooms. He's actually quite hilarious. His name's Mick. But he basically has grown all of these roses that are very similar to the imports, but they're Aussie grown. So obviously florists are going to naturally
Go over him.
choose to go and buy his roses, and they are beautiful.
So are they expensive because there's not a lot of them, or they're cheaper because they're local, or is it demand so we can put his prices up?
Yeah, it's a
There's
bit of that.
A lot of circling going
Sorry,
around
Mick.
there. A lot to unpack there.
Yeah, there's a bit of that. Like, his demand is pretty high. So, you know, but he just keeps planting more and more and more to keep up with
That's
it,
so
because
good.
everybody wants it. And his roses smell like a proper rose. Like, I'll get you some nudes.
Yeah, I'd like some nudes.
A lot of the smell has been bred out of them.
Yeah.
That
That is true, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. Particularly with the import stuff, you won't get a fragrance on any of the import.
Why is that? Why do they take the fragrance out, do you think?
I don't know. It's just, I don't know. Because if they're going to try and like crossbreed like particular roses, for instance,
okay.
they're going to go for a big, open, lush bloom rather than
It smells
something
very
that smells. Yeah.
Oh, yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
about look, isn't it?
It is
Because
about look.
it's photos at the end of the day is all you've got.
Yeah, but you
memory.
cannot beat the smell of fresh flowers. When
Oh, I
you walk
agree.
into a venue and you're like, oh, I can smell that. I walk into some of my suppliers and I straight away can smell Baronia or Daphne or,
Eucalyptus.
jasmine. Yeah, you can
Jasmine's
smell them.
nice.
And they all have different, like, feelings as well.
True.
You know, if you smell a jasmine, it might remind you of your grandma's garden.
Yeah.
Or,
Yeah,
Wattle reminds me of being a kid.
So there you go.
There was
It evokes
we lived in
memories.
Mulgrave. There was a wattle tree next door, and every spring, and it's just now that's coming out that you smell
yeah, it's a real
the wattle,
springy smell.
and
yeah.
you just feel like a 4-year-old.
Yeah.
Let's talk a bit more about sustainability, because Johnny, he got himself into a bit of trouble.
Well, Sharon, I
Couple of
did.
seasons ago.
I did.
Okay.
Can we tell that people why you got in trouble?
I would go to a wedding venue and then I would see floral foam, which is the green microplastic toxic crap that you just jam flowers into. It takes no brain cells. It's just jammed them in, right? And I would get in there and I would get the shits.
So you've insulted half the population already.
Well, it's fine. There's only half of them left. But I would get the shits with it, and then occasionally I would call them out on Instagram. And then I had...
Oh, really?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
You know, I would say, blah, 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 today's florist is, and oh my God, there's a bunch of green shit in it. So I had a couple of florists contact me, and I had to take my foot off the gas there.
Yeah.
But I do a lot of work with Rita from Sustainable Forestry, and I've interviewed a couple of professors and stuff that have explained to me about the foam and how it breaks down and where the microplastics go. And Sharon, every day you eat something like a credit card's worth of plastic.
And I'm as fit as a fiddle.
Is a real bugbear of mine. So I know that you don't use it at all.
I wouldn't say at all. I'm never going to claim to be 100% sustainable.
Good.
Yes.
Okay.
I don't think any florist can.
Yep.
Oh, tell me why.
Because, I mean, even the wrapping, the
I
wrapping
see.
that you get flowers in.
Yes.
It comes out in a plastic
there's
buzz.
So much plastic. I mean, I separate all of my plastic and I take that and I recycle that as much as I can. There's a time when you kind of have to, but I'm moving more towards now. So I've been a florist for 20 years.
Yep.
And I'm moving more. I know, like a baby.
I know you must have when you're 5.
17 or something. I think I was 17 or 18. But yeah, I was only taught foam. It was the only way we were taught, or like hand tied bouquets. But it's learning practices that are gonna get rid of the foam.
Yep.
And it's pretty much on its way out. Like as far like for me, all my
percentage of
corporates I
florists
use
are using?
wire.
Yep.
What percentage of florists are still using foam?
Oh, Rita's probably the one to ask. But
Stab 30%.
yeah, probably about 30%.
Yep.
I'd say more are going towards sustainable.
Yep. And I know a
Because
couple of venues are very unhappy with people
Yeah.
using it because then they've got to dispose of it.
Correct.
Oh,
How do you dispose it? Do you just chuck it in the green bin?
Yeah.
And it goes into
It
landfill,
just
it
doesn't
becomes
break
compost,
down.
it
It's
never breaks
awful. Like
down.
the fishies, they eat it. It's horrible.
And where they say that here's the new foam, which is
biodegradable.
biodegradable.
When I
right?
did my class,
Okay, so biodegradable
She's this
foam,
stuff, yeah.
all it does is breaks into smaller pieces so that smaller organisms can eat it.
right?
So it's not biodegradable at all. It never disappears. It's green foam.
I think the thing is that you have to train yourself a whole new way. There's other ways, and like I've been keeping my eye out on. There's a company called I want to say Oshwin. I could have said it wrong.
the
Oshwin pouch.
Ocean pouch.
So I've been trying to get those for God knows how long. They don't ship to Australia. I think Rita might have actually been trying to get them brought in.
Hang on, tell the novices what an ocean pouch is.
It's like a small pouch that's similar to the green foamy sort of thing that you can wedge things into it,
Yeah,
and you
and
can
it-
cut a slice and put water in it that will
Yeah,
keep
it
them
absorbs
there
it.
for
It
a long
absorbs the
time.
water. So
Yeah.
it holds it like a foam, but it's not
Yeah,
the
it's
foam,
like a
and
little
it's
pouch.
a lot better. A lot better.
You slice the pouch and you jam them in.
Yeah, right. So how many brides or couples, I should say? I always say brides because they statistically 95% of
Talking about
brides.
flowers, it's 99%
It's
for sure.
but even organising a
know.
wedding is 95%.
How many dudes do you get to
A
do?
few. I've had a few.
Don't forget us gays.
Yeah, I
Gay boys, they're
but
no.
true. But well, in
I
the
get a few grooms that will take the lead, and I had one last year, and he took the
so
lead,
bride
and
and
I
groom
was
come
like,
in, and the groom wants to make decisions.
he's the one making decisions.
Yeah, right. I love that.
Yeah.
Me not so
And she, yeah,
Me
so,
not
so I must admit, I was like, is she okay with this? Like, why is he making all the decisions?
Yeah.
Like, surely she wants to talk about her bouquet.
Yeah,
and he's
yeah,
like,
yeah.
oh, she wants to carry the ears or... Yeah, so that's what I was like, oh.
That's it. I find that a huge red flag.
Why?
A little.
And I noticed that when, if I'm
But maybe
talking
she
to a
just
bride and
doesn't care.
groom, and then every time you want to open your mouth, I go, no, but Sharon said that she wants to
Yeah.
get it. And then the groom is taking over, and I'm like, what's the dynamic here?
Yeah.
And you would find that in floristry. If
Yeah,
a
I
dude
do.
is involved in the floristry, then I would just suggest a bit control freaky rather than flower nut.
It's a sweeping generalisation. You
Well,
got there.
hey, we're in a podcast and get away with anything.
Well,
fine.
how do you know that the bride just isn't interested in design, and he's the one that really wanted to get married, and she's just going with
What
the
if the
flow?
bride-
I sussed them out a bit. And
Yeah,
I
you
sort of
have
tried
to.
to get a little bit of the, why is it him making all the decisions?
And
And,
what did he
every
come up
phone
with?
call, well, I still don't really know. I actually genuinely think he was a bit of a control freak.
Yeah,
He
exactly.
really wanted to call the shots, yeah.
90% of the time, Shaz.
I don't even think I spoke to the bride on the phone, actually, that one. Yeah.
Wow. So that particular example, you thought that was a bit controlling?
Yeah, a little bit.
Okay.
Red flags.
Yeah, there was a few
Red flags.
red flags going off there, but...
Do we know what's
Hopefully
happened to
they
them
won't
now?
watch it. No, they're
Oh, I
still
do love a bit of gossip. Not like,
No,
if
they're
I
still
don't know
together.
them.
No, it's still together.
Oh, good. Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, shit, you'd hope they're still together.
Yeah,
Until
well,
he
yeah.
wants to end it.
Oh, stop it. Am I having negativity here?
No, but going back to the sustainable...
Yes, please.
There
Yeah,
is, there is
it's back on
definitely
track.
more florists that are trying to do it.
Yep.
There's some excellent florists that are, really sustainable, but then you've also got things like, bleached and preserved things, which
Yeah.
are not necessarily so good for the environment, and that gets brought in too. So that's where I say no florist will be 100%.
Ever be 100%.
It's so difficult to be 100% of everything.
It is, but
Really.
even at home, like, okay,
Yeah.
do we recycle 100% of our soft plastic at home?
No.
And I drove here in an electric car. As much as the electric car part is sustainable, the tyres aren't.
Yeah, it's hard. It's hard.
Don't even get me started on your
What
car.
I say, we're all doing our bit, and
Yeah.
that's where I can take
Yeah,
comfort.
yeah.
I'm doing my
Important.
bit.
Imagine
to really.
if no one was doing their bit. We'd be in all sorts of
All
trouble.
Yeah.
So I think your pet peeve is the foam,
foam.
the floral foam.
Because I think, and you've proven this, a lot of florists have proven this, you can do it without the foam.
Yeah, it takes more skill.
Yeah.
Really,
Yeah,
to do
right.
it, to create like that arrangement there. You can't actually see it, but that arrangement there is made in chicken wire. I mean, look
Yeah.
at their lemons; they're so heavy,
Yeah.
Yeah.
but they are staying in that chicken wire because it's the way that it's scrunched in there. It's the way that it's connecting onto other bits. So it does take more skill.
But
So-
then, okay, so you've got it's 40 degrees. They've got this beautiful art, these roses from Ecuador,
Yep.
but they really want to be sustainable and don't want floral foam. How
That's
the
fine.
hell do you keep that shit alive?
That is,
That's a good question.
yeah.
That's
How
a
do you
good
do that
question.
shit
40
like-
degrees. I can even pick the
Are
venue.
you, are
It
you
was
out there
Jack
with your,
Rabbit.
your little spray
Yeah.
gun?
Potentially, yeah.
Yeah.
I think the thing is, okay. So you make sure that you give yourself enough time to set it up, but don't set it up too early. That it's out there in 40-degree heat
Yeah, belting.
for hours on end.
Well, in the heat of the day, usually.
Yeah. So I do use a lot of the. So I create the chicken wire sort of structure, and then I have leaves in it, and then we use water vials. But the water vials we get back and we reuse them. So that's where they're
They're
still
like
in
little,
water.
little test tubes.
Yes.
Correct,
I
yeah.
bought some of those in my one class that I did.
Have you used them again?
No, I didn't
No.
use them. I didn't use them in the end. No.
Yeah, so they're good because you can reuse them,
Yeah.
and they do hold the water. I mean, not for
So
long.
when you see all those flowers, every rose is in a vial. Ah,
Yeah.
right.
Yeah.
That's how it works.
See again, this is where being sustainable can actually cost the client
Correct.
more because it's more
Good.
staff
Yep.
to put all of those
Yes.
roses in water files.
Thank you for mentioning that.
Yeah,
Sustainable's
so,
not cheap, Shaz.
It's not, is it?
No, if cost is your only issue, you can just go and wreck the world and it's cheaper.
That
I
is
know, isn't that awful?
Yeah, it's horrible.
because that's what we've been doing for such a long time. I think over years, these sorts of things will become cheaper.
Yeah, exactly, and it's more important, I think, for a lot of the younger couples, like some of the brides that are coming to me now, couples, are they're in their 20s and they don't really know all of the foam that we had to deal with back when we
Yeah,
were training.
right.
Whatever they want
Yeah.
to do, they want to do things more sustainable. They want to look after the environment more.
Yep.
So
Definitely.
it's more important for them. Definitely a Gen Z thing is
yeah, right.
I see it that more people care.
I'm all for it.
So
Shaz.
what's happening is the youngies are coming through and they and all of their friends are getting quotes from florists such as yourself using the vials, using chicken wire, yada yada. So that's just the norm price for them. It's when the parents get involved.
Yeah, that's what you mean. You
And they're
keep
like,
them home.
well, back in my day,
Yeah.
this is how much it costs and that's outrageous.
Yeah, yeah. If Beryl just buys that green block and jams them in, we'll save a fortune.
Beryl's my mum's name.
Hi, Beryl.
She
Cheryl?
would not be jamming nothing nowhere. Yeah, that's interesting.
Yeah, it is. It's but I think it will change, but it's like anything. We're all more
Aware.
educated about the dangers of smoking, the dangers of vaping. Back in the day when my parents were, they were smoking in the
true.
house.
I was smoking and vaping at the same time.
Yeah, but now we kind of all know that it's it's not that great.
It's not good for you. Now, the kids that are coming through now, it's their grandchildren that are really going to cop it for what we have done to the environment.
Yes.
And generations before us.
Yes.
I think they're going to be the harsh ones.
Yeah, I could get very depressed here, but let's move on, shall we?
Yeah.
Let's move on from sustainable.
Well, do you have
Just
any-
try hard, people.
do you
Try
have
hard.
any
Because when the
questions?
wedding's over and there's all that shit that needs to be disposed of somewhere.
Oh, I've got one.
What?
I've got one. I'm spluttering because it's so good.
So good.
Do you have many couples, or do you offer the service of coming back and wrapping all the flowers up for the guests to take home?
Yes.
You
yes.
do?
Yes,
I
we
love
do.
that.
So that again, it comes down to being able to reuse and give out. Because otherwise, what am I going to do with all these flowers?
Yeah, true.
I'm going to bring them back here and
Throw
then
'em out.
just have to.
What do you mean bring them back here? Don't the venue get rid of them, or do you have to go and get them?
Well, we bump out. We always go and bump out, which also comes into our labour and what have you.
Because we're
we
talking
will-
midnight.
Yeah, and if there's like beam installations or you have to go back and collect all your stuff. If I hire
never
out
thought of that.
stands,
Yeah, there's a wedding another day,
we
Sharon.
have to go
What's the
back.
stands?
So this is why at vases, I hire vases, and we have to go back and collect all that stuff. So
I'm
that's why
tired just thinking
this
about
is
it.
why we cost what we cost. But
Like
yeah,
I said,
'cause-
I didn't think florists were expensive because I know that the design, not anyone can do it. Well, maybe we could do a little
Out-
bouquet after.
Out
Johnny.
of the list of suppliers, I've always thought that florists work the hardest.
thank you.
Oh, you know what? I'm going to agree with that.
Well, on a wedding, yeah, they do.
Yeah.
But I mean, there's people that bring in like all the audio, visual, all that stuff where they're lugging big things.
They start at 4 o'clock in the afternoon. They bump
true.
in. They're singing by 7. They're at 11. But
Yeah, we
And
are
also, they
there
get
from
everything
the crack of
online.
dawn.
Everything's like, what do you like this
Yeah.
sound, this genre, this? They don't. No,
Yeah,
no. Florists, I
always
reckon
thought-
they're up there.
And that was after speaking to a couple of florists where I'd sledged them online, and then they rang me to explain how hard it is to be a florist. And I was,
You don't have to
I was
tell me who these
educated.
florists are after.
You did
But exactly
a few
that.
apologies, didn't
They're
you?
all day and half the night,
Yeah.
Yeah, that's right.
and they're backing it up.
And especially if you are doing things in chick and white, like, for example, a ceremony structure. If it's really hot, I can't do that the whole day before. It's otherwise foliage is out of water, and I have to do it as fresh as so that it still looks beautiful. So
Because
so
they're paying
it's
so
really,
much
really
money, it has to look beautiful.
absolutely
Because this is what they're going to put on Instagram.
Yeah,
Yeah.
true. And Instagram.
Instagrammable wedding is. So
It's
do you
so
think in your?
important, isn't it?
It is. How many years have you been doing weddings for? All the whole time.
Yeah. So when I was an apprentice, I was doing weddings in.
So you've been doing weddings all this time. So what have you seen change from 17 years ago to now? Like, has there been a major change in something that really stands out? Are we going off script? Is this right?
What would I
Who's
see
got
as
a fucking
change?
script?
Oh yeah,
We don't have a script.
Who sprung it?
Oh, you don't have
What's
to. I'm
changed?
just curious as to what's really changed.
I mean, like the bud vase thing was around for a while, and then that kind of went away, and everyone was doing big florals on the table, like in abundance.
Yes.
And then,
Is there a lot more greenery?
yeah,
Does
greenery.
that go back
yeah.
to? Does that make things cheaper if it's greenery? Because that's what people think.
What about natives?
Yeah. Well, they're only
Is there-
around a certain time of year as well.
Natives have they've had their day, and then they
Yep.
come back, and then they come back again. So
I'm
I
not
feel
a big
like
fan.
it's like everything. Yeah, because it just feels like it's not as
It's a bit too
lively.
rustic.
A bunch of gum
It's a bit
trees.
too
chopped off
rustic
at
for
the-
me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Not that we're bagging natives.
No, we can bag them.
No, because one of my couples in January is doing natives.
I don't do many native weddings, I'll be honest, but I don't hate them.
Yeah.
It's just not my
Your vibe.
People don't come to me for that.
Yep.
I do love foliage. I love doing different foliage
I love-
arrangements.
yeah.
It's different textures and fragrance, and yeah, I love all of that. Give me 5 different bunches of foliage and make something amazing out of it.
Yeah,
Fine.
right. Yeah, I
Yeah.
like that.
Yeah, good.
Yeah.
When I did my one class.
It just adds something so much more to an arrangement than
I
just
agree.
having flower. But yeah, I'd say over the years the foliage thing has kind of gone up and down. Whereas
okay.
like the last probably year, even coming into this year, everyone's doing just flower.
Really?
Yeah, and
So
like
we're away from mason jars and stuff.
yeah,
like
that's
that.
been and gone. Yeah,
Been and
that's
gone.
done.
That'll
Yeah.
come back, so don't throw them out just yet.
You gotta-
Don't recycle them just yet. Oh, yeah, we're looking at them now in the
Bud
studio.
vases over there. Yeah, no, but again, the bud vase thing been and gone. But
Yeah.
now people are wanting to do it with just a couple of reflex roses and that's it.
Do you know what else? Reflex is when they turn the petals over. I learnt that in my one class.
Look what we're learning here.
Yeah, yeah.
I was going to go somewhere with
And
it.
that takes ages, so that's another reason why they cost so much.
Are you?
Yeah.
What are you?
I'm looking at my questions, Johnny.
Hit it, Chaz.
Okay, yeah, done that.
This is riveting television.
No, you know what? You
Riveting.
can chop it up. Actually, we don't
We don't
normally
chop.
edit. We normally,
chop,
yeah, it
yes.
normally just goes in like
I don't have
this.
time for chop. Anybody got time for that?
You've got to get rid of some. Can
Oh, you
edit
want some
that?
post-production?
No, you know why we do black and white?
Why?
Because we look prettier.
Okay.
Hang on, we probably won't do black and white here because we're in a floristry shop.
Oh, you know, yeah,
Oh,
you can't do
that's
black and white
true.
with all that
Who
colour.
wants black and white
Yes.
peonies?
What's something you can tell us that you would like couples to know so they don't just go, why don't you do this and why can't I have peonies when it's not peony season? And like, what is the best advice for couples?
I
do you
think my best advice would be to trust your florists. If they say peonies are not in season, don't use them.
Now, when I'm speaking to couples and I refer a florist, I always say, pick a florist that you like their style and leave the florist to do it.
Yeah.
Well, what's the
100%.
point? If you just want to get involved yourself, go to the freaking market and buy a bunch of your own crap. But when you're dealing with a professional
Great.
and you go, here's some coin, knock yourself out.
That's right.
You're gonna
That's
get a
we're
better result.
creatives. We want to see
Yeah.
something. Go,
That's
like I'd go and get all my flowers from Mumbolk. So I drive up there, and it's a big chunk of my day, but I love it because it means that I get to see everything. Like there might be a ute rock up at the supplier full of dahlias that have just been picked, and I'm like, I'll have that bucket and that bucket. That's fun for me. So, and then I get to be creative with it. So if that couple has said to me, "This is my color scheme. Do what you want with it."
This is my budget.
Yep.
Do you get that?
Yeah. Yep.
What do they ask you first? Budget or share their Pinterest board? What comes first with couples normally?
They'll give me a range of where their budget's sitting, and then they'll give me their inspo, and that's when I can say, that's great, we can do that for that price, or we could do this kind of thing if you want to spend a bit less. So I like to give them options because not everyone's, got $1 million to spend on flowers.
I'm sorry, I don't care how wealthy you are or how unfinancial you are. Is that the word? Everyone has it unfinancial.
Unfinancial.
Disfinancial. No, that's completely
That's
made
not
up.
even a word
That's
either. It's
totally
a word.
made up.
Broke.
Yep.
Everyone.
Broke.
I was trying to avoid broke.
No,
Right?
broke works. Broke's good.
Everyone has a budget. I don't care who you are. I don't care if you're Kim Kardashian. You still have a budget.
That's right. Or even if they don't, they try and get it down anyway.
Budgets are a number plucked out of the sky.
Oh, I just hate the word. I say to
Yeah.
Matt, I'm like, I know it's a disgusting, ugly word,
Don't-
but where are we at with your budget?
Yeah.
We don't have a budget. Who just sits there and says, okay, this wedding's going to cost me $100, I'm going to split it.
9 times out of 10, they will say, this is roughly what we think, but we have no idea.
Oh, that's nice.
What can we do?
Yeah, you want that couple.
That's-
Yeah.
you want that.
How much do we need to spend? This is my look. How much do I need to spend?
that
And
makes
that's when I
more
say,
sense.
oh, look, if you've got a bit more wiggle room, we might need a bit more.
Yep.
But yeah, most of the time they're pretty.
Okay.
They can bend slightly.
Yeah.
There's always a bit
Yeah,
of wiggle
yeah,
room. There's
Always.
another nan that's going to give them an extra $3,000.
That is so true.
Or
All you
just-
do is go and cry to Nan.
Just take away the seat covers. If you need to say,
Fucking hate seat
take
covers.
away the seat covers.
thing?
It is.
Sure,
Yes.
it's a thing.
I've seen one.
Really?
Yes.
Don't they do them at Potters or something?
Don't name venues.
Don't mention
Yeah,
the venue.
nice. Sit on the fence with that, Nat. Don't get involved, or else you're going to go down the gurgler like he and I.
But there are still places that do seat covers,
Yeah,
and
there are.
you want to save some coin.
Yeah, I just
lose the
thought of one,
seat
actually. I
covers.
just thought of one. Yeah.
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 Oh,
There's
that's
an extra
all right.
grand.
No,
Drop
that's
that
all right.
grand on
Yeah.
floristry.
Yeah.
Yeah. I feel like, I mean,
Or photography.
chair covers are
They're out.
you don't need them.
What are you hiding?
You don't
Yeah,
need
you're
them.
hiding
Get-
your shit
Oh,
chairs.
hiding
Get better
something.
chairs.
Yeah.
Either stretchy down the legs.
Shall we get to
You got a
the?
bow on the back.
Shall we get to the what cheese and milk thing?
Oh, so we've created a new segment.
New
No,
segment!
hang on, wait. Before we do that, do you have a good story or a bad story or one of each?
Okay.
Give me a bad story because we much prefer
Yeah, we
those.
love the bad
We love
stories.
the
The
Bad story in
bridezillas.
what
Give me a-
Bridezilla.
Give me a bridezilla.
Or a groomzilla or
Yeah,
a
yeah,
mother-in-law or a mum. There's got to be a bad story in your 20 years.
No doubt.
Yeah, there's a few.
Pick not the most recent one in case they listen.
Yes, I'm nervous. Like, what if this couple knows it's me? That it's them.
Yeah.
Deny.
Yeah, Kevin and Kelly.
Yeah.
Oh, a few good stories. So there's one that pops into my mind where this was a bride that was very particular about what she wanted. Super particular.
Not there's anything wrong with that.
This was no, there's not. It was actually a fun look that I was like...
Red flag.
No, it's not.
It was a fun look. I was excited
Red
to run
flag.
with it.
Yep.
Oh, I've just thought of another story that's way
good.
better.
Yeah, do
Way
the
better.
yeah, do the way better
Go
bad
with
one.
that. Yep.
Okay,
People love
this is-
bad stories.
Yeah, but I
It's
don't
awful.
know whether I'll piss a few people off.
That's right.
So
Welcome to our world.
couple came to me and they were very, very adamant that their theme was going to be a song by, who was it? Kiss Chasey or someone? Oh no, who was it? I can't remember. Anyway, it was a song, and the song was When the Day Met the Night.
Yep.
And that's like their relationship. They were like, okay, one partner.
One of them is the day,
One of them
and one of
is
them
a
is the
bit
night.
more, yes. And I was like, I don't really understand. And I said, you need to, like, they sent me photos. This is our look. And I was
Yeah.
like, I really just don't understand. And I had to be brutally honest with them and say, I just don't get it. I'm sorry.
Yep.
Then they came in. And so then the bride had told me that she was a polyamorous, bisexual.
Fuck me.
She was a bit, honestly, she was a bit of everything.
Yeah.
And hope to God
Not there's
that
anything
he
wrong with
no,
that.
but I was confused. And her partner was the knight, and it was just so confusing. She was like, I want to have a bit of, yellows and into oranges and then into blues, into blacks. And I was like, okay, all right. I really, I had to nicely say, I just don't know how I can help you with this. Anyway, I did it.
Did you?
Yeah, I did
So
it.
you didn't
'Cause I was
fire
like,
them.
no, I was
I
like,
know.
I was
How did the night of the man and the day of the woman intertwine, Foxy?
Well, so her partner was a trans woman. So she was a they. They were going to be wearing this black cape,
Right.
Yes.
and it had stars all over it. And so then the bouquet that I made for the bride had little stars.
Okay.
What did I use? Bavaria, which is like a little star-shaped flower.
Oh, nice.
And then, I just sort of entwined that. I put a bit of blue floral in there. I put a bit of... It was interesting. She loved it. The bride
Oh,
loved
that's the
it.
main thing.
But I'm not sure if they're still together. I'm
Well,
not
in
sure.
a polyamorous, maybe they are still together, but there are 15 other people there.
Oh, it was...
I don't know. I need to know now that it's all come out.
I tried to follow up and be like, can you send me photos? I would love to see how this looked. Because, it was... And so her bridesmaids had... what were they wearing? Gold.
Mm.
So they were wearing gold, and they were all in slightly different bouquet colours. So it was really interesting. It was very
Sounds
interesting.
really
It was
tricky.
really testing
Eclectic.
my...
So it takes me back.
Skills.
Have you ever fired a couple? I have.
Yes.
I have.
Yeah, you have. You
Yes. I
have.
think
So
I have
I guess
to.
this is for couples out there. It's not all about you. Sometimes we just don't like
We
you.
will screen you. We will screen you. No, I've had some that are very particular about what they want and not willing to take any kind of direction as far as what is available.
Yeah.
Like they want you to reduce the cost of it, but they are very specific about how it's going to look. One recently has happened, and it was a big budget, so I would have been very welcomed. But she was just quite difficult, quite particular.
It's not
had to
worth
look
cost,
like
is it?
this, but like greenery hanging, but we don't want greenery. So
Oh, wow.
but we don't want to spend this much, even though I said that's how much it's going to cost.
Yeah.
Like, just in the end, I said, look, unfortunately, I don't think I'm going to be able to do this justice for you.
Good.
I don't think it's going to pan out. And she was like, I appreciate your honesty.
Go and bother someone else.
So but then those ones I always look into afterwards and be like, who'd they choose?
Yeah,
Who's
of
done this job?
course. Of course.
Which florist has pimped herself like so bad that she'll just do it for any cost?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it happens with corporate as well. It happens with corporate.
Oh, yeah.
Not
we
just
didn't
weddings.
get onto that, didn't we?
Yeah, corporates. There was one job that I really wanted to do. It was for the Flower and Garden Show.
Oh, nice.
And I loved the idea of it, but the budget was just so unrealistic. It was going to be it had to last 4 or 5 days, had to be big pillars in chicken wire, and it just wasn't going to work. And
Yeah,
they
it's
they
not
had
worth
a
it.
vision that wasn't going to work, and I just sort of
Because it's your reputation at the end, isn't it?
Yeah.
Your name is on
that
it.
one particularly, Flower and Garden Show. You want to be on point, doing something amazing,
100%.
and it wasn't amazing. So,
What a
So we
shame.
beep.
Yeah, reverse.
yeah.
Okay.
Do you ever, when I've done this a few times, it's not you, it's me. I'm just not ready for this relationship right now.
No,
This is how I bail out of them.
I just put it back on me and say, look, I just genuinely don't think I'm going to be able to do it justice.
Yeah.
Do it justice is the guy.
But
Yeah.
you're actually being 100% honest, though.
Yeah. Which, I mean, that particular bride did appreciate that. Some will probably just be blank you, like,
Yeah, the blank's going to happen. Red flag.
well, they'll ghost me, but that's okay.
Oh,
Because that pans the way for
Yeah.
a better client,
Yeah,
for my
100%.
ideal client,
Yeah,
the ones I
definitely.
love working with. And some of my clients have become like really good friends, you know.
Aw.
They then go on to have babies, and then you do their baby shower, and then
Yeah.
their friends or sisters get married. I love that. Like,
Yeah,
that's,
it is nice, isn't it? We are in a really beautiful industry,
Yeah,
aren't we?
I end up doing baby shoots, and then I do
Yeah.
their sisters' weddings, and
Yeah.
then the mother's keen to see you every time. That's
It's
is,
nice.
it's beautiful.
It is. We love love.
yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. All right, wrap this puppy up.
Okay,
Dad.
so
Take it home.
when I was
Send it
having
home.
wine last night, I thought of
Hang on.
how we could.
Were you having wine?
I know it's different, it's unusual. Anyway, I was having wine last night. All these ideas are coming out, and remember that show, Hey It's Saturday? It used to be on 30 years ago.
Yep.
The nighttime version, the adult
I'm
version.
glad the Gen Zs are listening to this with no
Oh,
idea
yeah,
what
look
you're
it up,
talking
Google
about.
it, Google it. Anyway, so Aussie Ostrich, they used to have a segment called What Cheeses Me Off. And so there's little, Aussie Ostrich. And so they would have this segment start off with, What Cheeses Me Off?
Yep.
So we're going to start at the end of each podcast, we're going to do What Cheeses Me Off. Do you want me to start?
Oh, do we all do it?
Oh, we all
I
get
don't
to
see
say.
why not?
I thought we were just going Foxy here.
Oh, okay. I'll start.
No,
you go.
yeah, you start.
I'll start.
You start.
What cheeses me off the most? We
This is
already
about
know.
this is about wedding. What are the rules of the cheeses?
There are no rules with you and me, John.
Is it about what cheeses me off about wedding flowers, or what cheeses
Anything to do with the weddings, I think.
Okay.
What cheeses me off, and we already know this because our podcast a couple ago were bridesmaids not doing their fucking job or disappearing. So even though it's a repeat of the podcast, I thought it's a great way to start.
All right. So what cheeses me
What
off
cheeses you off? Johnny, do you have one? Maybe we...
Cheeses me off when you sledge bridesmaids.
Oh, it does not. You love it. No, it's a
What
good thing,
cheeses
isn't it?
me off is the whole social media thing. Johnny and I have talked about this
Oh,
recently.
let's double cheese it.
Yeah,
Let's
okay.
extra
Yeah.
The
extra
social media
cheese.
thing is so hard because I am just like, no one's going to come to me now just because I'm a great florist. I've got,
No, they're going to come to
show
you
up.
because
You
you're doing a TikTok dance in the middle of the studio.
It's infuriating. I mean,
A high percentage of my couples come from Instagram.
yeah, same.
You have
It's
to
also
work
slowed
so
down a
hard.
lot.
Yeah.
You've got to work so hard to produce a reel of behind the scenes flowers going in and build and blah blah blah.
Yeah.
And you take your whole day doing it and you think this is amazing.
Yeah.
14 likes.
Johnny rang me the other day because that's exactly what happened.
But not only that, you feel like I like to think, and I've always felt like this, I like to think I'm a bit individual. But if I'm just doing the same trending thing as everyone else, that doesn't make me individual.
But I guess as a business woman, you have to participate a certain
You have to show up.
percentage,
You have
whether
to
you
show
like
up.
it
Yeah,
or
you got to
not.
be doing that sort of stuff. But I don't know.
Back in the
It's
day, you
a lot of
did
work.
one advert in a magazine. They went to the newsagents, they bought all said magazines,
Oh, okay.
and would just tear the
Totally.
pages out.
Totally.
I was
Put
the
it in a
king of
scrapbook.
Cosmo Bride. Cosmo
Yeah,
Bride
were
was
you
the
really?
king of it.
Cosmo
Yeah.
Bride.
Yeah.
Yes.
I would have a 4 or 5 page spread of some hotshot footballer and his hot wife, and now the wife is no longer in magazines; she's an influencer.
Yeah, correct. Yes.
Oh yes, I just remember. I did have an influencer come to me once. I was like, "Can you do it cheaper?"
Oh, they shit me when they do that.
So that cheeses me
That-
off.
Oh, there we go. And that is the end of.
The Wedding Crunch with Johnny, Shaz, and Nat from Foxy Evergreen.
Look her up. She's bad.
Yeah.
Her work is
Really,
beautiful.
really good. We
Yeah.
wouldn't be here if she was shit.
Well, that is a good story. Yes.
And cut!